Hey, this is a good problem to have. I'm your host, Tyler Olson. Wanted to talk about the 6 steps that a doctor can take to go from substantial student debt to $1 million plus in net worth. This is the hardest transition to make, financially speaking. Compounding interest on one's investments really help quite a bit when it comes to furthering growth once your net worth is actually past $1 million. And not that number specifically, but just the more your net worth grows, the easier you can see that growth, even like not even from a numbers and financial standpoint, but also from like an emotional and like a sense of success standpoint. But in the early goings after training, a lot of doctors graduating with $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in debt, how do they turn the ship around, right? And so I wanted to talk about the 6 steps that you would need to take in order to get there. And there's a lot of scenarios. I'll just take one and then try to apply the principles that we talk about in your own situation, because obviously your debt level, your income level, and different details are going to be different than this. So let's say you've got a $550,000 household income and you're going into private practice, so public service loan forgiveness is off the table. And you don't live in the Bay Area, but you also don't live in a really low cost of living area. We'll just call it somewhere in the middle. And let's just say you've got 2 family members. You got a spouse and a kid. This is such a winnable situation. So here are the 6 steps. The first one, you need to pick a lane for your student loans. Letting time go by where you're just kind of drifting after training, this is very common. And it's common because there are competing priorities for your newfound income. There might be other debts to pay off. And, if you got high interest credit card debt, absolutely take care of that first. But then other things have been put on hold. Getting married, buying a home, getting a car replaced that has been needing to be replaced for a long time. There's a lot of things out there. But you need to get this on your radar. Even if there's other things that are absolutely urgent and need to be addressed, you got to put the student loan plan on the priority list along with those other things. And if, in this scenario, going into private practice, you're not going for public service loan forgiveness. So you pretty much have 2 choices: aggressive payoff and gradual payoff. And you got to pick one and then commit to it. The aggressive payoff just means you're going to be living more frugally, probably maybe somewhat closer to what you were living like as a fellow or a resident. Or maybe, but still not exactly like that. You could be aggressive and spend some more money, which is perfectly fine. It's good to find a balance. But with the aggressive payoff, you could have it paid off in 3, 4, 5 years, somewhere in there. Whereas the gradual payoff, you're thinking, I'd like to up my lifestyle, but I'm willing to sacrifice the time, increasing the time that I'm going to have this debt for make it 7, 8, 10 years to pay it off. And both can work. It's really about letting it fit, find how it fits like a puzzle into the rest of your plan decisions, like your retirement plan contributions, other debt payoff, home purchase plans, whatever other savings plans that are important to you. But the main thing you got to look at here is cash flow, because that has to be managed. Your net income after taxes. What is your new attending income actually providing you? And what can you pay? What could you reasonably pay on your student loans on a monthly and a consistent basis? Because once you refinance, which is something we'll talk about soon, then you have no income-driven repayment plan option anymore to fall back on. You got to make that payment. So you really need to understand where your money is coming from, where it's going, and how much there is involved. Another thing too is I said 7, 10 years on payoff. I've even done 15-year payoff timelines in plans, and they work. It's just a matter of accepting that longer-term debt existence, which can be frustrating. But everybody's different. You got to make sure that you find the right balance for you. All right, so that's step 1. You got to pick a lane for your student loans. Step 2, you got to protect yourself against disaster. This is talking about building up cash and getting the right insurance policies. These are not negotiable. You got to build up an emergency fund. Now, if you're someone that has $550,000 income, there's a decent chance that, if not now, soon, 3 months of expenses are going to be pretty close to $50,000. Now, maybe not. Maybe you're going to live super frugally, and that's not going to be the case for you. You live on. Let's just say, I'm not going to call $10,000 super frugal, but I guess it is, right? These days things are pretty expensive. But let's just say you're all in $10,000. Sure, like 3 months, that's $30,000. But for a lot of people, especially in that income range, you're eventually going to get up to a point where your spending will go up. And so aiming for a $50,000 cash buffer or emergency fund is really, really beneficial. And then on top of that, you also want to protect with own occupation disability insurance from one of the following 5 companies: Emeritus, Guardian, of course I'm blanking right now, right? Oh, Mass Mutual, Principal, and the Standard. And work with an independent agent who can help you get quotes with any of those 5 companies. You also want to get term life insurance, particularly if anyone is depending on you and your income. And then lastly, umbrella coverage, which is personal liability coverage that goes above and beyond your car insurance and either renters or homeowners insurance limits. As a doctor, this is really important. For those of you that have children, if you soon will have teenagers, oh my goodness, having umbrella insurance is so, so important, because their liabilities, like think about them driving, their liability risk is your liability risk. And as a doctor, you just got a target on your back, so you got to be careful. So you got to protect yourself. Cash buffer against emergencies, and helps you to improve investor behavior when you know you've got a good cash cushion on hand. Even if the market's down, you don't have to sell, right? You got plenty of cash to pull from in case there's any emergencies. Improves investor behavior. And then insurances: own occupation disability insurance, term life insurance, and umbrella insurance. That's step 2. Step 3, lifestyle guardrails. So your income's going up massively, right? And you're this person in a medium cost of living area. The biggest impacts here are going to be your house purchase, right? And for those of you, if you have kids, if you're trying to decide whether you're going to do any kind of like private school, that's going to be a factor. But you gotta, whatever it is that you're going to prioritize, you have to write down what you're going to be spending. Because just because the income is high, that does not protect you from overbuilding your life and spending more than you should. You need to have an intentional spending plan. I am not at all against spending. Any of you who've known me any period of time know that I'm a big fan of new attendings spending money. But you do need to do it intentionally. Don't just go willy-nilly and do whatever. You got to have a plan. It's so important, because if your fixed expenses, like the things that you have to pay for no matter what, like your mortgage, if they're really, really high, that's requiring you to have that high income at that job without much interruption at all, right? Like if you want to change your job, if things are really bad, you got a toxic environment, or you have another kid and now there's going to be 2 tuitions to pay for, things get tighter. So the more you require yourself to pay on things that you know today and don't factor in the things that you don't know that the future may hold for you, the more risk you're taking on. So you got to be really careful about making sure that you've got a decent cushion in place. And being intentional about your spending, making sure that you're taking the risk that you actually are comfortable taking and not just flying blind. So that's step 3, lifestyle guardrails. Step 4, is you need to put your monthly cash flow into a cash flow spreadsheet. You can use Google Sheets. You can use, I know there's some really great like budgeting cash flow apps like Monarch Money. I'm a big fan of that. Do-it-yourself financial planning software through Empower, I've heard, is pretty decent. You might be able to use those two together, actually, Monarch and Empower, if you're a do-it-yourselfer. For us, we use a system called Right Capital, and we use Monarch too. But Right Capital is a financial planner-centric software, so you wouldn't be able to use that personally. But in any event, you need to have a good way to visualize your money flow, so you can see, hey, like for this person with $550,000, we're looking at maybe around $26,000 in take-home pay. And what are you doing with that? You could live on $13,000, throw $9,000 a month at student loans, and invest $4,000. You could do it all. It's not going to be like you can have everything that you want, right? But you could have a lot of the things that you need and some of the things that you want, and have an aggressive approach toward your student loans and investing. But visualizing that, getting that all on one page, so helpful. Step 5, invest. You want to invest even while you're paying off your debt. Don't wait. This is particularly important to be able to capture any employer matching contributions to your 401k or 403b. If possible, maxing out some of your retirement accounts, if not all of them. Evaluating whether the backdoor Roth is appropriate for your situation. That's where you can take money that's come through your paycheck. It's sitting in your checking account. If you got a lot of cash building up in your savings account and you're not sure how to proceed with it, even after student debt payments are made and living expenses are, the backdoor Roth is probably worth considering, because it allows you to get money into a Roth IRA in spite of your high income and invest it on a tax-free growth basis. So it gets in there. It's already been taxed because it came through your paycheck. And the contribution invested then grows. And whatever it grows to, all the way to retirement, all that growth, all that profit is tax-free, which is awesome. And then taxable investing too. But, with a really sizable student debt payment, you may not get to the taxable investing quite yet. You might have to wait until that's gone. That's okay. Start with some investing and go from there. But if you do these steps 1 through 5, your loans at the first few years, loans are going to feel huge. Net worth is still pretty negative. Progress will feel slow, but this is normal. You're building slowly. As year 2 progresses, the loans are shrinking. Investments are noticeable because they're consistent. This is going to start to feel the way that you're hoping it will. Confident and like you're making progress. Year 3, loans are really manageable. Investments are growing, possibly over 100,000. Net worth likely crosses 0 at this point. And then year 4, your loans are gone, or they're almost gone if you took this really aggressive approach. And now you can redirect that $9,000 toward other things, which is really cool. And now we get to step 6. After the loans are gone, you flip the switch. What does that mean? You can really, really up your investment contributions, like into your taxable investment account, but you can also increase your lifestyle spending. Again, you want to be intentional about it, but take that, like once those loans are gone, wow, what am I going to do with this in this scenario? $9,000 per month that I've been going toward my loans. Now I can redirect it to further investing or increasing my living expenses or traveling more, or whatever your situation options are. So, before you know it, your net worth is going to cross $1 million. I've seen this countless times. So these 6 steps, they do work, and it's not perfect. There's going to be hurdles in the road that feel like, oh man, this is not working in the moment. Nothing is perfect, nothing's guaranteed, but it's possible that you'll be able to succeed with taking these 6 steps. I've seen it time and time again. Be really careful with a few things that can delay the success of this process. Buying too much house too early, overspending on way too many luxury cars, getting into private investment deals from old buddies from college, or from even from colleagues that have gotten into like the real estate space. And they're trying to use their affinity with you to get you to trust them. You need simple investment strategies and things that you can understand and contribute to on a consistent basis. And and lastly, just waiting on investing. Don't wait to invest. If you don't know how, hire a planner. Hire someone to help you, even on a short-term basis, to educate you and give you confidence that it's possible for you to do. If you do this, though, you're going to have much more control over your time, ability to make decisions about where and how you work. It's awesome if you get to this place. So keep these 6 points in mind, these 6 steps, and I'll see you next time.